I'm Anthony Tierno, and this is another story time with the author. In this somewhat irregular series of blog posts, I basically do a short reading out of one of my books. This time it's going to be the first Maldene book, and a particular little scene out of Chapter 18. Chapter 18 is entitled Journey to Candol. I'm not doing the whole thing, just one particular scene. Basically, the group is on a continent called Candol, which the bulk of it picture the Germany's Black Forests. There's mountains in the center of the continent, and lots of woodsy stuff around here, and the architecture is probably like that area of Germany. And they're on a coastal city called Port Thregan, basically getting up supplies for their long journey inland along Thregan Road. This journey involves horses, and the priest of the group, Candol, he's the one who volunteers to go shopping for horses, which is probably unfortunate for a few people. Candol is our coin-flipping priest of Indra. And he's the one where, to decide left or right, he'll flip a coin. If you have one of three directions, he'll go, okay, heads it's left, tails it's right, on the edge it's center. And you'd be surprising how many times they end up going down the center. Anyway, he's not what anybody envisions as a normal priest. And in this scene, he's dealing with probably an admittedly somewhat disreputable horse trader, and dealing with it in his own unique way. So to begin, these are all fine horses, I assure you, the man said as he patted the horse on its rump. From where Candol was, one could see that Port Thregan, while quite large, was more in the way of being a standard port town, nowhere near what Harbor of the World was. Its structures were all made of wood, gathered no doubt from the ample supply in the surrounding woods. The roads, while all dirt, were kept smooth and reasonably clean. This is not a slum-choked city, but more of a large urban sprawl, several of the businesses also serving as owners' homes, small houses scattered throughout the city in no apparent pattern, and a few small farms peppering the distance. The horse stables that Candol was at were situated on a slight hill, from which one could see at the far end of town a somewhat larger road leading off into the interior of Candol. No finer horses will you find in all of Candol, the salesman was saying. Are they sturdy? Candol asked. The needs of Indra must have it that these horses be able to survive a long journey, all the way to the mountains. My friend, the man said, waving his arm in the general direction of the horses stabled before them, if these horses could only but talk, they'd tell you how good they are. Now there's an idea, Candol exclaimed excitedly. What? The man asked doubtfully. Candol spread out his arms, facing towards the horses as he raised his voice in incantation. Oh, mighty Indra, lend these horses the power of speech that they might truly tell of how they feel. Now, sir, I can assure you, the man began as he faced Candol. The salesman was interrupted by a slight popping noise. Then he began to hear several voices coming from behind him. Slowly he turned around to see the unexpected sources. Ow, my back hurts. That last guy who rode me really kicked me in the ribs. Just put me out to pasture. I'm feeling pretty good. Hey, you want a race? I got something stuck in my hoof. This hay tastes terrible. The man looked on in shock as he saw all of his horses talking like they were born to it. And not only talking, but, worst of all for a salesman, telling the truth. Candol calmly walked over to the stables, walking past each horse in turn, listening to what they said. Hey, the man said, running over to the priest when he got over his shock. Don't listen to them. They're just a bunch of nags. What do they know? Hey, I resent that remark. Yeah, see if we perform for the next. See if we perform for the next buyer. You know, he sold off old Lightning as stew meat. I would say, said Candol, that your estimate of the worth was a little overrated, as well as your prices. The salesman looked around both nervous and puzzled as he watched his whole stable spout off their woes. My legs itch. I'd do a lot better if you fed me. Get me out of this dump. Indra does not look kindly upon cheats and liars, Candol said, raising his voice imperiously as he stopped walking down the line of horses. Watch it or he'll overcharge you. I know he's asking double what I'm worth. Yeah, it's all just a trick, the man said, trying to recover his lost bargaining position. Even if they were telling the truth, these horses couldn't possibly know any better. Are you doubting the power of Indra? Candol raised his voice so that it was now heard in some nearby streets. The man saw heads turn in their direction, curious at both what the priest was saying and about the talking horses. Listen, could you just get those horses to shut up? The man asked nervously. Get me a filly. I am ready to stud. How can humans get all the fun? The prices you ask are way beyond the worth of these poor animals, Candol stated. That much should be apparent to all around. Yeah, but do they have to tell the whole town? The man began to look desperate. It's ruining my business. I must insist on a fair deal. More townspeople were looking over as the horses continued their incessant complaining. The man gave them a nervous smile and then faced back to Candol. Look, I'll lower my price 20%, the man said on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Deal? The man took out a single gold coin and flipped it up into the air, catching on the back of his hand. Excuse me. Catching on the back of his hand, he looked at the result before answering. Nope, Candol said firmly as he pocketed the coin. I must insist on half your stated price. Half! I need to be reshoed. Can't you keep the bugs out of my hay? I want to be combed down. Crowds were now gathered in the nearby streets, watching and laughing at the talking horses and the horse dealers slowly going to pieces. Okay, the man pleaded. Half it is. Just stop these horses from talking. Eric, may the gods save me from wizards and incessant priests. You will feel better for it, my son, Candol said calmly as he got out some gold coins. Indra will surely bless this place. The crowds looked on as Candol counted out the money into the hands of a whimpering, broken horse dealer. That was just a quick little scene of their activities in Catho. Of the moral of our story probably being be careful which priest you assign to bargain for horses. I should also mention that in the second novel, Mysteries of Old, they find themselves once again in that same city, and Candol has another encounter with that same poor unfortunate horse dealer. But that's the scene for another later story time. Until then.